was sort of...
But you know, you also have to take into consideration, too, that what you saw in the movie that they pieced together,
Yeah.
Michael wasn't going to rehearsals. They knew that they were going to film that when he went to the rehearsal. They knew this was going to take place. Michael was so freezing cold and so weak, but yet he managed to do what he had to do for the film to make himself look good, for the people that were around him. And they kept pushing him and saying, you can't do this and you can't do that. And he wanted to show them that he could do it, even though he was weak and he was freezing and he was asking for help and no one did help him.
Yeah.
Which was really weird, because at the time I didn't know that, and then I found out later what was actually going on.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that what you actually see in the movie was the only thing he probably did, the only rehearsals that he went to.
There you have it. There you have it. Yes, yes, yes. And they filmed that, and then that's what they put out.
Yeah.
And it looks like he was fine from what I hear. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah, but no, on the surface it looks like he's okay. He's still doing it. He's still being the king of pop. He's still dancing. But sort of, if you look closer, I mean, you just see physically he shouldn't have been there.
He's going through the motions.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right, because the little pieces that I see is not the Michael that I know, and it's not the Michael that would want the public to see him that way, because Michael always wants people to see him at his very, very, very best.
Yeah.
And that is not his best.
Were you concerned about those 50 shows that he had to do in London?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Did you think he could do it? That he would be able to do it?
Absolutely not.
No.
No. And Michael was only to do 10 shows. And that's what he agreed upon, and that's what he thought he was going to do. And then they sold them out rapidly, and they added more shows to it without his permission, without his knowledge. He had no idea, and he was in a catch-22.
Yeah.
It's such a horrible story, if you really think about it. And I understand the story.
I think so, because this is what I wanted to ask you about specifically. Knowing your story, and we touched upon that, with your manager.
Yeah.
What is it about, maybe, I mean, I'm generalizing here, I hope you forgive me, but about the Jackson family and, having a tendency to be dependent on people who are actually bad for them? Because that's also the story. That was your story? And Michael's story touches a lot upon that as well.
Oh, no, it's the same story.
Yeah.
It's the exact same story, and that's why I understand it so well, because I was being controlled and told what to do, and everything was taken away from me.
Yeah.
And the exact same thing is what they were doing to Michael. Michael was being controlled by the people that surrounded him. And when you say, what is it about the Jacksons that lean towards bad people, is that what you said?
Yeah.
It's not so much that...
well, they become dependent
you know
on
what
it for a while.
Jensen? What it is basically is that I think when you're kind and you're nice and you're meek, people take advantage of you. People are not... We were raised to respect. We were raised to be honest, believe in what people say. When you say something to me, I believe you're telling me the truth and you won't deceive me. And there are so many con artists out there. There are so many people that want to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
And that's what they did with Michael. They saw that he was a kind, sweet, generous person known all over the world.
Royalty.
People would just die to be in his presence. And they saw that, wow, I can boss this kid around. And the world thinks he's incredible, but I can tell him what to do.
And he was vulnerable.
And that's what they did.
And he was vulnerable.
And that's what they did. And it's so sad.
He was vulnerable, and they pounced on that.
Oh, yeah. He was very, very, very easygoing, very meek, very soft, could never say no. And they took advantage, and they started piecing and putting people in there and just totally taking advantage of them.
So you're actually saying, so you went to the hospital, but you knew that he'd already died at home? Or did you find out later?
At that time, going there, I did not know that whatsoever.
No.
No, I did not know. Because I've done a lot of reading on everything that happened, and I speak to as many people as I possibly can every single day about what happened, what took place, what's going on. And there is a lot there that I think will be revealed within time. You guys have no idea.
Have you been able to piece it together?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, I'd like to hear more about that. But first, I mean, the grief must be, just horrific, and it must be terrible. But also because it becomes a world event. I mean, everybody around the world you know, falls right into the story. And, you know, and you guys, it's basically, it's also a story about a family losing somebody close to them and important to them.
Oh, yeah.
But it becomes such a big story. Was it able to find time for personal grief?
You know, during that time that Michael passed, I didn't watch television, and most of my siblings, I don't think they watched television the entire time, so I saw absolutely nothing that was on television, nothing that was going on whatsoever during that time.
But let's talk about the memorial.
Okay.
What was that like? Was that hard? Have you ever seen it? Have you ever looked back at it?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It was beautiful,
absolutely.
wasn't it? Were you happy? Were you pleased?
Personally, I wasn't happy with it.
No?
No, I wasn't.
Why not?
Because I know my brother. I know what he would have wanted. I wanted it to be more royal. I wanted them to. I wanted to be presidential for him. That's what I wanted. I wanted just the best for him, the absolute best. Don't get me wrong, it was very, very nice,
Right.
but I wanted him to have a carriage, a gold carriage, and just
People lined
just
in the
the
streets.
soldiers walking, and I just wanted the best for him because that's the way he would have wanted it. And sometimes I look back on it and I say, I'm so sorry. I wish it could have been better for you because I know him.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Was there
yeah.
a big discussion about this?
Oh, yes,
did you
we
let
did.
your feelings know?
We all discussed it, of course, the family, and what we were going to do and how it was going to be done, and different positions. But this is what we ended up doing and having, because my mother didn't want it too spectacular. She was, you know, she's Jehovah's Witness, and she was afraid, saying, oh, but we don't need to make it that grand, and we don't need to do that. So, you know, we had to respect our mother's wishes, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And then, of course.
But it's also a testament to how big his life was.
Yeah.
Because the ceremony itself was already huge. I mean, but
And
it was
we
actually
wanted it in
kept smaller.
Washington. Yes, we
Yeah.
wanted it also in Washington at the memorial. We just wanted it
Big.
where everybody can come, because people were wanting to come from all over the world.
Let's take a look how it actually turned out. And it was beautiful.
Op 7 juli 2009 werd een verpletterende afscheidsceremonie gehouden in het Staples Center in L.A. Stevie Wonder was er, Lionel Richie, Mariah Carey en natuurlijk de hele familie.
I feel the king of pop is not big enough for him. I think he is simply the greatest entertainer that ever lived.
Bijna 12.000 fans zagen hoe de familie Jackson afscheid nam van hun opvallendste telg.
Being judged, ridiculed. How much pain can one take? Maybe now, Michael, they will leave you alone.
De uitzending werd wereldwijd door meer dan 1 miljard mensen bekeken. Voor de toekijkende wereldbevolking was het niet alleen een dag van afscheid nemen. Voor het eerst maakten we kennis met een drietal mensen die we alleen nog maar hadden gezien achter maskers. Michaels kinderen. Hij had ze altijd op zorgvuldige afstand gehouden, maar deze dag kregen ze een gezicht. Prince Michael Joseph Jackson, Paris Catherine Jackson en Prince II alias Blanket.
I love my daddy so much.
Michaels kinderen zijn altijd omgeven geweest met mysterie. De verschillende moeders spelen geen enkele rol meer in hun leven. En het was ook maar de vraag of Michael wel de biologische vader was. En hun toekomst was al net zo vaag. Wie gaan de kinderen grootbrengen? Michael had zijn moeder Catherine aangewezen als voogd. Met als runner-up zijn oude vriendin Diana Ross.
Ever since I was born, Daddy has been the best father you could ever imagine.